So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a basic spreadsheet and then how to make a graph from it. So I'm going to start here with my spreadsheet, open a spreadsheet to put a name in here. So making a graph spreadsheet, okay, or lab 2 or however you want to call it. Typically, you can make either column, your X column or your Y column, but it's typically easier if the furthest left column is your X values. So I'm going to do volume, and I want my volume in milliliters. So I put the unit with it. You don't have to, but it makes it easier when you're formatting it. And then the Y is going to be the mass in grams. So I measured, and I had, when I had 3.2 milliliters, the mass was about 3.21 grams. And then when I had the volume of 5.7, so again, I'm just copying my data table here, okay? And then I had 9.8, okay? And they don't have to be in order. So then maybe in the end, I had a measurement of 1.1, and this was 1.09, okay? So however it is. So now I have my data, and again, it doesn't have to be in order. I'm now going to highlight my data. So notice I kind of click on and I highlight all of it, and then my screen, you see, flips to something else. So we'll go back there. Okay. So again, I'm going to highlight all my data, click and hold down and highlight all that data. Then I'm going to go to insert a chart. And what it did is it defaulted to scatter chart. It may do this, it may not do this. So it might give you, like, notice it can give me a bar graph. It can give me a line graph. It can do a whole bunch of things. With this line graph, if you zoom in, it actually like goes there and then it goes back. So this is why I never really like using line graph. I really prefer the scatter graph when we're doing a lot of these, finding trend lines and things like that. Since I put the title here, volume in milliliters, notice it put it down here. Now what I can do is I can format this. So I want to maybe put a title on here. So I can click on the title here, double click, and I can call it like the density of the substance, or finding the density of substance. A good default way that we often will label most our graphs is the Y versus X. So mass in grams versus volume in milliliters, okay? It's kind of a default way to make a graph. Then what I can do here, and I'm gonna move that over here, is if I click on here or I come over here on the side, I'm on the customize in the chart editor. If the chart editor is gone, if you just click on your graph and you click on these 3 dots, it'll come back up, and I just click edit chart. And then I'm gonna click customize, and if I go to series, I can go to Trendline. So Trendline, it's going to insert this trend line here. And so I can then see the trend line for it. So here, this would even give me my equation. So I could hear my label, and it could show the equation of the trend line if I wanted to. So there are some options that it's going to give you on when you're doing this. So again, what did I do? I said I wanted to show the trend line, and then with the trend line, I went to label. Label is none, but again, use the equation. Sometimes that's a really helpful way, because once you start understanding slope better, you can just use that, and that automatically calculated the slope for you. So it plots the points, gives you the trend line. So this is a quick tutorial. If I needed to label my axes, again, I could just come in here and I would go into chart and axes titles. Chart title, I can click on that, and then I can type it in here. Horizontal axes. So again, I have volume. Notice if I just said vol, now it just updated it. Now I want the whole thing. But if you forget to label it, this is why it's easier to label it up front. So that's a really quick tutorial on making a graph. Use the XY scatter to plot the points, label your axes, include a title, and then you can have it insert a trend line, and you can even have it show you the equation, and that can be a quick way to find the slope. So that's a quick way to use Microsoft Excel. I hope that was helpful.